Luka Doncic was already able to make big leaps right after his rookie season, and now in his third year in the league, odds makers even consider him as the front runner to win the MVP award for the 2021 season. While of course, Doncic already looks like a generational talent as well as the future face of the league. But the question is, can all his accolades help the Mavericks win a championship the soonest time possible? Well, the Mavs were a first round exit a season ago, and a lot of fans expect this team to be at least a top 4 seed in the West this season. And with all these expectations, it could just be a matter of time before they're included in the championship conversations for the considerable future. Luka Doncic is a certified franchise star, and Porzingis is a solid second star despite the injuries. But the question is, can this Dallas Mavericks team realistically win the NBA title in a year or two? Well, that's what we'll talk about in this video. So what's good guys, it's Balls here, and today we'll look into why this Luka Doncic-led Dallas Mavericks can win an NBA championship much earlier than most people think. Let's get to it. Last season, the Lakers showed everyone how to win a championship in today's NBA if ever there was a template for winning. Well, of course, having LeBron and AD will most definitely help any team's chances, but without the right roster to surround their two superstars, it would have been far more challenging for them to win the chip. Ultimately, it was the Lakers' defense that won them the title, and if any, this team was proof that defensive dominance starts on the perimeter. The Lakers basically realized that they had to surround LeBron and AD with 3 other lengthy and athletic defenders in their starting lineup during the finals, and if you look at it, during the entire postseason, the Lakers didn't start anyone below 6'5" as well. While most definitely, Luka and KP won't be as good as LeBron and AD defensively, but I think they don't need to be at all. This Mavs team had the most efficient offense in the league last season and even in NBA history, and they definitely don't have problems on that end. Well, their defense was below league average at number 18, but if they become a top 10 defense, chances are they will become a clear-cut contending team. Well, historically, a top offensive team with at least a top 10 defense usually wins championships, and Dallas knows this, and that's why they have opted to focus on strengthening their perimeter group's defense. And step 1 was trading Seth Curry for Josh Richardson. While obviously Seth Curry was a great shooter who can give tons of offensive lift off the bench, but the thing is, both him and Luka pretty much have the same strengths and weaknesses, and they just cancel each other out on the floor, to be honest. But if you look at it, Richardson obviously complements Luka Doncic's style of play better, and I think him and Luka are more than an ideal backcourt pairing. Richardson is 6'5" with a 6'10" wingspan, and he has the tools to defend primary offensive initiators like Steph Curry or Damian Lillard from the point of attack, which Luka Doncic just can't do on a nightly basis. Last season, Richardson ranked 28th overall among all shooting guards in defensive real plus-minus, ahead of guys like Jaylen Brown and Andre Iguodala. Ultimately, he just makes Luka's job a lot easier by being able to match up with smaller players without him demanding the ball to be effective. Well, Luka's instinct has always been to attack closeouts on the way to setting up his teammates for open threes. And Richardson has been a very able shooter from deep while averaging 36% during the past 3 seasons. But more than that, I think this guy's been the missing piece of the Mavs perimeter group, which already features Tim Hardaway Jr. and Dorian Finney-Smith. While all 3 guys have been plus defenders last season, Hardaway ranked 26th among all shooting guards in defensive real plus-minus rating, while Finney-Smith ranked 12th overall in that same category among all players listed as small forward, just behind guys like LeBron, Kawhi, and Jimmy Butler. Basically, the Mavs defense is primed to get much better with these 3 guys together on the floor. And at this point in their careers, I think that all 3 are gonna be willing to accept secondary roles without being unhappy not being the team stars. Hardaway is already 28, while Richardson and Finney-Smith are both 27. They're all in their prime, so to speak, and that is another reason as to why I think this season's perimeter group will fit well playing with 2 superstars in Luka and KP. Last season, Hardaway had his best 3-point shooting year at almost 40%, while Finney-Smith shot almost 38%, improving his previous 31% clip. Those guys already experienced the benefits of playing with a great offensive initiator in Luka Doncic, and Richardson will most likely improve his 3-point shooting as well. The guy isn't in the Sixers team without spacing anymore. Shots will just come to him easily now that he's Luka's primary backcourt partner. And actually, this Dallas perimeter group kinda reminds me of the 2018 Houston Rockets team, which had the Hungry 3-and-D trio in Trevor Ariza, PJ Tucker, and Luke Baamute surrounding CP3 and James Harden. That team won 65 games and made it to the conference finals, and if the Mavs defense catches up with their offense, it wouldn't be hard to imagine them being in the conference finals as well this season. And also, looking back at last season's Lakers roster, that team didn't lack size at all. Aside from AD, they had reliable bigs like Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee who they needed to contribute from time to time. But still in the finals, it was the team's perimeter group who did much of the damage, especially in the defensive end. And basically, I think the blueprint for the Lakers was simple. In Game 6 against Miami, they played Caruso, KCP, and Danny Green in the starting lineup together with LeBron. All those guys could constantly switch in the perimeter and guard beyond the 3-point line, while Davis used his length to protect the paint. While a 5-man lineup of Doncic, Richardson, Hardaway, Finney-Smith, and Porzingis is already at par with that lineup in terms of length and ability to space the floor. And I think Porzingis can definitely play that role that AD had if he becomes the sole big man in a potential Dallas starting lineup together with 4 wing players. Of course, Anthony Davis is a perennial Defensive Player of the Year candidate, but I think Porzingis is actually a very underrated defender himself. Last season, he ranked 7th overall in defensive role plus-minus among all players listed as power forwards, just behind guys like Giannis, Bam Adebayo, and Pascal Siakam, and he also averaged 2 blocks per game. This just shows that he's a real difference maker in both ends of the floor for Dallas, but as we all know, the problem has always been his health, and he's missing some time during the start of the season again, and so Coach Carlisle has got to be able to mix and match guys like Kleba, Powell, Boban, or Willie Cauley-Stein to fill his spot defensively. But if there's something good to make out of the missed time by Porzingis, it's that Luka Doncic actually registered a better net rating last season when he didn't play with Porzingis than when he did. Luka was a plus 6.5 without him on the court, but was a minus 4.5 when he shared the court with KP. And as we've seen in their first round series against the Clippers, Luka was able to hold his own against a tough defensive team who had a couple of two-way superstars, as he averaged 31 points in the series on an efficient 50% shooting clip, even without a healthy second star for most of the playoffs. And the thing is, just like LeBron, Luka knows how to combine his physical strength with his passing ability. And even though he's not as athletic as LeBron, he's a big point guard who can create angles for himself off the dribble while attacking the basket. And in fact, the guy shot 57.4% from 2-point range last season, which is higher than LeBron's 56.4% and AD's 54.6%. And with those numbers, you can just see how Luka can possibly play the LeBron role for Dallas. He's just a more than ideal offensive initiator for a team with 4 other guys who can space the floor. Just like LeBron, he's so good at picking defenses apart when attacking the rim, to the point that he's able to find open teammates easily while under pressure. And so, it's quite obvious that this current Mavs starting lineup will just hold up on both ends of the floor, especially with a healthy Porzingis coming back. And so, I think the Mavs front office did a great job of analyzing the trade-off when they shipped Seth Curry to Philly. While they might lose a step offensively, but they should be fine. They should still be a top 3 offense in the league at least. And the thing is, their current lineup should make their defense respectable, because realistically, a team that is led by an offensive-minded star like Luka Doncic needs to have balance around him. And I think it's no coincidence that the Harden-led Houston Rockets' 2 trips in the conference finals came in 2015 and 2018, which were the only seasons when they had a top 10 defense during the Harden era as well. So overall, Dallas has accepted the fact that defense still wins you championships in this space era, or at least, defense will take your team as far as you can combine it with great offense, which the Mavs already have. And even if we go a few years back, I think there are lessons that can be learned from the most recent NBA dynasty that we have witnessed, the Golden State Warriors championship teams beginning in 2015. Even with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, the Warriors struggled with mediocre defense and problems with winning close games early on. During the 2011 to 2012 season, when Curry and company didn't even make the playoffs, they only ranked 26th in the league in defensive rating and 29th in terms of clutch statistics, but 3 seasons later, they won the NBA championship. While even with the young Klay Thompson and Draymond Green, the Warriors was still one of the worst defensive teams in the league. And it wasn't until they traded for 2 All-NBA defenders in Andrew Bogut and Andre Iguodala that their defense gradually improved beginning the 2013 season. It's also when Steph, Klay, and Draymond made the playoffs for the first time, and in the span of 3 seasons, the Warriors improved their defensive rating from 26th in 2012 all the way to becoming the best defensive team in 2015 when they won the NBA championship as well. Well, the Mavs already made the playoffs in Luka's second season, and they are well ahead in terms of defensive rating compared to that young Warriors team, as the Mavs finished last season at number 18 defensively. And who knows how much better they'll be this season with a more defensive-oriented perimeter lineup. And also in 2012, the Warriors were the second worst team in the league in terms of clutch net rating, but by their 2015 championship season, they were the 3rd best clutch team in the NBA. At this point, Luka's Mavs are in a very similar position. They were the 4th worst clutch team in the NBA last season, but considering that Dallas had the 3rd highest net rating in the West, only behind the Lakers and Clippers, and considering that clutch statistics are quite random, it's quite a reasonable argument that they could have won a few more games here and there. And it's safe to say that they're a much better team than what the clutch statistics indicate. But it is what it is, and overall, with Luka gaining more experience, with Porzingis being able to remain healthy consistently, and with this team spending more time on the floor together, they should be able to win more close games moving forward. And looking at how things went for the Warriors, it probably took Steph Curry a full 4 seasons before he developed into a dead-eye sniper in the clutch. And based on what Luka has shown this early in his career, he isn't a bad clutch performer in any way as well. And so, we've seen the Warriors' trajectory entering their championship years, and things are looking good so far for the Mavs in comparison. Well, Dallas could still get better. We don't know who else could join them during the next offseason. The next free agency would be exciting because they still have the cap space to sign another guy or two. But right now, the best part of it all is that Dallas has already identified where they need to get better at to reach the next step. They have a solid second star in Porzingis. Richardson and Hardaway look like reliable third and fourth options, and they have seemingly adjusted their roster into the mold of an ideal championship team. And so, the only thing that's left to see is how Luka Doncic can channel his individual greatness to lead this team to an NBA championship. Steph Curry was able to lead Golden State to an NBA title in just his 6th NBA season because he's the best shooter that the league has ever seen. But considering that Luka Doncic has been doing things that haven't been done before by a 21-year-old, there's just no reason to think that he can win a championship as well with less time needed. Thank you for sticking until the end of the video, and feel free to drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Also, if you've enjoyed this one, please do smash the like button and feel free to subscribe to the channel as well. Again, this is Rero Balls, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.